Well, if you're a gun voter in Platte or Laramie County, you have a choice to make in the upcoming August 20 Republican Party primary. Representative Jeffery Haroldson or his challenger, Jeffery Thomas. Who's going to fight for your gun rights in the Wyoming House? Stay tuned, guys. We're breaking this race down right now. Hey guys, Aaron Dorr here with Wyoming Gun Owners. The August primary is coming up fast, and in House District 4, we're being asked about this matchup between incumbent state rep Jeffery Haroldson and his challenger Jeffery Thomas. It's all of Platte County, a tiny portion of the north side of Laramie County, and the question you're asking us is not who says they're pro-gun. Everyone says they're pro-gun in Wyoming in a primary. We all know that. The question is, who can we trust? Who can we count on to actually fight for our gun rights? So many people get elected after they promise to be a pro-gun champion and then join the rhino swamp in Cheyenne and betray us. So guys, in this video, we're not going to tell you who to vote for. What we will do is give you guys the information you have to have: voting histories, candidate survey results, public statements made for or against your gun rights, so you guys can make a more informed decision as educated gun voters. And we're going to begin with Jeffery Thomas. Now, I want to say right off the get-go, Jeffery, I love your hair. You're giving me flashbacks to Mr. T, my lunchbox when I was a kid. I do dig the hair. But all that kidding aside, that's where the good news ends with Jeffery Thomas, because Jeffery is refusing to fill out his WIGO gun rights candidate questionnaire. When a candidate won't tell gun voters where he stands on the issues of the day at election time, when he needs the support of gun voters, it is almost always a sign that candidate intends to sell us out if they are sent to Cheyenne. It's almost always been that way in our experience. Because, again, right now, they need our support. What happens when they're in office for the next 2 years and they don't need our support? So we don't know where Jeffery stands on things like gun-free zone repeal. You guys know we passed that this year. Governor Gordon vetoed that. That is a fight that remains on the to-do list here in Wyoming. Would Jeffery vote yes, or would he vote no to repeal gun-free zones? We don't know, because he won't say. The same question for Stand Your Ground law. We passed it in 2018. The rhinos still are talking about trying to weaken Wyoming's Stand Your Ground law. Would Jeffery Thomas vote to protect or to attack Stand Your Ground law? We don't know. Same question on red flags. We passed a law this year to ban red flags. And again, the rhinos want to go back in there and weaken that law. Would Jeffery Thomas vote to support red flags or to oppose red flags? We simply do not know, because Jeffery Thomas will not tell gun voters where he stands. And the question you have to ask yourself is why? What is he trying to hide? Why does he not want to put his views in writing? It's 10 questions, not 100. There's not double negatives. They're not hard questions. 10 questions. Why won't he answer them? That's a big warning sign to us as gun voters. And that brings up Jeffery Haroldson. He's been there now for 4 years. He took out Dan Kirkbride because Kirkbride was pushing for radical gun control, for heaven's sakes, here in Wyoming. Been here for 4 years now, and in that time, he has become a leader in the fight for gun rights. This year, he was the lead sponsor on House Bill 125. This was WIGO draft legislation from several years ago that's been repackaged into House Bill 125, and it would repeal all of the deadly gun-free zones in our state. It's a big, big fight that has to get finished. Jeremy was the lead sponsor on that. He fought for it in the House. He fought for it over on the Senate side. He fought the entire time. And then, of course, Governor Gordon vetoed it when it got to his desk. But it was a big fight, and Jeremy led that fight, lead sponsor on House Bill 125. He also fought hard for our other bill, Senate File 109, which did become law this year, and that is the bill that banned red flag gun seizures. You guys know what I'm talking about. Colorado has red flags not too far away from us. Red flag laws allow your neighbor, your ex-spouse, an angry professor from your college class, whatever it is, to call the cops and say, this guy might be dangerous. And the cops can then call the judge and say, this guy might be dangerous. The judge can then sign a seizure order. Your guns are gone with no criminal charges ever filed. It's insane. It's unconstitutional. It shreds your due process rights, and they are illegal now here in Wyoming because Jeffery Haroldson helped us get that done over in the House. Specifically in the House, what Jeremy did was help lead the fight to stop all the amendments. So the rhinos hated this bill, but it's an election year, and they knew they had to pass it or else WIGO members would come after them hard in the primaries. So they tried to kill it in committee. They failed. They tried to keep it from coming to the floor for a vote. They failed. Their last-ditch effort then was to have Bob Nicholas, the biggest rhino in the House by far, run 5 amendments that were designed to crush SF 109. Each one of those required a fight. Each one was a floor action, a debate, a big back and forth. It took hours in the House this year. 4 amendments, 4 fights, 4 roll call votes, and Jeremy was right there to oppose all the amendments the entire time. The 5th Amendment was pulled from the bill because Bob was being laughed at now. He was getting almost no support for his harmful amendments towards the end. But it wouldn't have happened if the conservatives, like Jeremy, had not been there on the floor, pushing back every single time. So a strong showing from Jeremy Haroldson on the fight for SF 109. And finally, no surprise, he was a yes vote on the call for a special session this year. You see, once Governor Gordon vetoed House Bill 125, we were adjourned for the year. So the only way to fix that is to override the governor's veto, and for that we have to be in session. To do that, the governor can call for it. He sure as heck wasn't going to do that. Or it can come from the legislature. We have to have a simple majority vote in both chambers to have that special session. We had the votes in the Senate. We lacked the votes in the House, but Jeremy Haroldson was an absolute yes vote on that call for a special session. Finally, he's 100% on his candidate survey. You can see it for yourself on our website right now. So guys, to recap, pretty simple. Jeremy Haroldson, 4 years fighting for gun rights, lead sponsor on pro-gun bills. He fought against the rhinos on bad amendments, gun control amendments on SF 109, called for the special session, 100% survey, 4 years of leading that fight. And when it comes to Jeffery Thomas, we got nothing good to report. He will not survey. We do not know where he stands on the issues of the day. That's a big concern for us as gun owners. So guys, that's our report on this race. Do me a favor. Share it on social media. Make sure everyone sees this report and get more involved today, guys, at joinwygo.com.